All right, very cool. Today, I want to share with you a little analogy that has helped me kind of think about my goals a little bit. All right, and that's the your goal is like a seed that's been planted in your mind. Okay, specifically into your subconscious mind, if we're doing it correctly, right? And just like any other seed, just like any other physical seed, our goal needs energy to grow, right? So what kind of energy do seeds need in order to grow? Well, if you think about a physical seed, right? If you were to plant a physical seed into the ground, well, some of the energy, the forms of energy that it's going to need in order to grow and to flourish are things like sunlight, right? Water, okay? The proper environment, like the right soil, okay? Maybe even some fertilizer and things like that. Wouldn't hurt too if you cared for it and pruned it and tended to it, maybe pulled out some of the surrounding weeds and things like that that would threaten it or hinder its growth, right? But our goals are no different. Okay, our goals they require energy to grow, just like a physical seed does. But the type of energy that our goals require are a little bit different in the sense that, while it needs thoughts, I mean, if you think about it, like our thoughts are a form of energy, okay? And like I shared before, you become what you think about, right? So the more that we're thinking about our goal, the more energy we're directing towards our goals, the better, okay? Our emotions are another form of energy. They say that, your emotions are just energy in motion, okay? And so it's important for us to get emotionally invested in our outcome, our desired outcome, or our desired goal. Remember that it's our emotional mind that drives 95 to 98% of our behavior. So it makes sense that we want to be emotionally invested in the outcome that we desire. Okay. Words are another one, and you can literally speak things into existence when you're talking about your goals and when you're speaking about what it is that you want to create or want to achieve. But I also find that, like, sharing your goals with other people and talking about it with others can sometimes, let people know that, hey, this is important to you and this is what you're working on. And you'll find that other people are typically encouraging, sometimes supportive, maybe even will reach out to you and say, like, hey, I found this solution, or have you thought of this, or hey, I'm going to put you in contact and connect you with this person. And so if we're keeping that sort of stuff to ourselves, sometimes we're doing ourselves a disservice. So talking about your goals can be another form of giving energy to your goals. Of course, taking action, whether it's big or small, can get that ball rolling as well. And then another one is, like, it's got to be the right environment. Okay, you got to surround yourself with the right type of people. And Bob Proctor has this a little analogy that he shares, and actually, he talks about an acorn. Okay, and he says that an acorn has all the potential in the world to grow into a giant oak tree, and it's true. It does. Um, but if you're to take this acorn and you're to stick it in your pocket, as opposed to planting it into the ground, well, you're never going to see any of that potential. And that will, inhibit or prevent it from growing, from reaching its potential of becoming a giant oak. And our goals are no different, or you and I are no different as people, in the sense that our environment is crucial, and we need to ensure that we're in the right environment, hanging around with the right people that are conducive to our growth and to the fulfillment of our goals. Okay. So some of the energy that our goals need are things like our thoughts, our feelings, needs us to speak about it, to obviously take action and surround ourselves with the right environment. Okay. Now, when we're talking about, a goal being a seed that's planted in the ground, okay, or our goals being a seed that's planted in our mind, it's very much the same way as a physical seed. Okay. Now, we know the gestation time for physical seeds. What I mean by that is, like, if you take a carrot seed and you plant it in the ground, we know from experience and from observation that it takes roughly 60 days in order to grow a carrot. Okay. For a human being, for example, we know that the gestation time for a human being is about 10 months, give or take, from fertilization till birth. Okay. For an elephant's almost 2 years. Okay. To grow a fully formed elephant inside the mother. Okay. Now we know the gestation time for physical seeds, right? But we don't know the gestation time for non-physical seeds like your goal. Now, I think that it's fair to say that our timeline, if we've attached one to our goal, is probably just like our best guess. Okay, it's a kind of a shot in the dark, or maybe even wishful thinking. But if we've attached a timeline to our goal, sometimes we hit it, other times we don't. All right. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that we failed. It just means, okay, well, that's reassess, that's reevaluate, that's reset, refocus, and recommit. Okay. But I also think that it's fair to say that the more energy that you give to your goal, the faster it's likely to grow. Would you agree? You think about it, the more that you think about your goal, the more that you talk about it, the more that you take action towards it, the more likely it is to grow and to flourish, I would think. Okay. In fact, there's a famous study that was done by Gail Matthews, and I cite this all the time, but Gail Matthews did a specific study where she found that the most successful people were the people who wrote down their goals, had them up on the wall where they reviewed them regularly. Okay. They thought about them, they wrote them down, they had them up on the wall, they reviewed them regularly, and they had a coach, an accountability partner, or a mentor, or a team of people that they reported to on a weekly basis as far as the actions that they were taking, where they were at with that, created some accountability and some support. And those people significantly outperformed all of the other groups. Okay. And I think that just goes to show that, the more energy that we shower on our goals, the better. And if you think about it, like, a physical seed, when it's first growing or when it's first sprouting, that's when it's most vulnerable, isn't it? When it's in its infancy. Okay. And our goals are very much the same way, in the sense that at first they can be pretty fragile or pretty delicate. And sometimes it doesn't take much to derail us from our pursuit of those goals. And over time, if we can be consistent with giving it that energy and allowing our goals to begin to take root, that's when we'll start to see it thrive and grow into its potential. And that's when those goals become much, much stronger. Okay. And essentially what happens is eventually you reach your point where you've created so much momentum, or your goals have almost kind of taken on a little bit of a life of its own. Okay. And it doesn't require quite as much energy. But especially at the start, it's more than likely to be a little bit vulnerable and a little bit delicate, and require a little bit more tender care, attention, and energy. So just a little analogy I wanted to share with you. It's been helpful for me, and to encourage you to keep thinking about your goals, keep talking about it, keep showing up for yourself and your goals. Okay. See you in the next video.